Collaboration and communication, is it a big part of your recruiting world? It should be, and if you're not doing it right, well, you're doing it wrong. Check out this video right now and find out how powerful communication and collaboration can be in your recruiting life. Hey, welcome to the Millionaire Recruiter. I'm Brianna Rooney, your Millionaire Recruiter. And if you haven't seen this channel before, it's all about making you the next Millionaire Recruiter. So today comes up in just my everyday recruiting life. And it's about communication and collaboration. And I put them all in one roof because essentially they're all the same thing. So as a recruiter, you are collaborating all the time, even if you're not at an agency, if you're not on a team and it's just you, it doesn't matter. You have to have good communication skills in order to then work with all the moving parts. Because even if you have your own gig, you're still working with clients and candidates, and you're still that third party, solution that's kind of bringing everyone, that matchmaker that's bringing everyone together. So it's super important. And if you're on a team, depending on how that all looks, here at Techies, so quick background if you haven't seen this before, I have Techies, which is a recruiting contingency company. We work with super high tech companies, high growth, and then I also have my baby company, Talent Perch, right now that I'm building where we embed recruiters internally. So there's a lot of moving parts. But here I have taught everyone to be a full cycle recruiter, and full cycle recruiting is, from start to finish, from sourcing to closing. Not all companies do that, and they silo these positions, and you can do that. Internally, they do that a lot. But at the end of the day, you need to have the fundamentals to take it full cycle. And if they want to just have you do one certain job, then you do it and you rock that job really well, but know that you need to be capable. If you want to be the next Millionaire Recruiter, you have to be capable of doing from start to finish, including getting clients. So where does this all come about? Well, here at Techies, we definitely have sourcers. And then we do have people that work with the clients, and there's also tons of people that do both, right? So you are constantly working with others. So you have a candidate and there's the client holder, and let's just say that that's not your client. You are working at all times with each other. And so a lot of times that's via email, especially because a lot of it's remote work. And so how do you do that? Everyone has a different point of view and everyone works in a different paradigm. That's a whole other subject that I won't get into today, but I should. But it's basically that how you read an email is different from how I would read an email. And it's different from the third person that reads the email. So how do you really collaborate well? Context is the hugest thing. So as you're moving really quickly, like all recruiters do, recruiters kind of like run with their chickens with heads cut off. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but you need to take that moment to breathe and to get things right. However, you don't want to overthink. So let's just say, here's an email. It's about an offer, because this is when you collaborate, I think, the most is during offer stage at the end, and then therefore it is the most important. And I think a lot of recruiters do then get anxiety at the end because they're so close and they just want it to close and they can't think of anything else. Therefore, the rest of the work that they're supposed to be doing, top of funnel stuff, reaching out, sourcing, is not happening at their full capacity because they're thinking about this one offer. So that's a whole other ballgame too, and you can't do that. So you need to focus on what's going on in the present, and that the most important thing is offer. So how you collaborate with someone else on your team is back to context, and you can't assume anything. I think a lot of people say that in business, and that's so incredibly true in life, everything. You have to give them color. You have to give them background. Here's what happened. Here's why I did it. Here's what I think we should do moving forward, because the person that has the candidate relationship should be the one that really sets the scene. However, the person that has the client is the one that has to pretend that they know exactly what that scene is. So if I had to do this right and do it often, I would do this via phone, Zoom. And I would talk to the client holder so they're really getting a full grasp. But if it's practice standard for you to do this over email, then you're gonna have to really speak through email and really spell it out. And I know some firms, like ourselves, we do love to have straight up These are the questions that we like to have answers to. So if you already have those questions out, what is it, 5, 10 questions, whatever it is, that a company needs to know about a candidate, that candidate holder should have those questions and should just answer them as so. You can have, again, like what I said, the color of someone and situation above, and then you can just have those questions below, which is another video, which I'm not gonna do right now, but it's, a pre-offer conversation is what I call that, or you can call it a post on-site. Those are technically two different things, but they coincide a lot. So that's definitely how you deal with the client versus the candidate holder, and how you can also relay what the candidate's saying. Now, there is a skill in order to digest what the candidate said, listen to not what you want to hear, but what's really going on, have a conversation, go back and forth about it. A lot of times, so you gotta think that everyone lies, right? All the candidates never want to tell you exactly what's going on, so just assume that they have 3 more options than what they're telling you. Or you can say, look, I have a really great relationship with this candidate. I know him really well. I super trust this person, and they're telling me everything that's going on. Well, great. Well, are you asking like those exact questions in order to get where you want to go? So let's say they're interviewing with Google, you're interviewing with Google, that's your client. Please tell me everything that's going on with Google. Could you see yourself with them? So you're asking all these questions. But if you're not getting direct answers and asking the tough questions, which is, where else could you see yourself working that you're interviewing with right now? I don't think a lot of people ask those ones because honestly, you don't want to know the answer if they're not going to say your company, which is Google in this situation. But you have to, because if you as a candidate holder go to the client holder and say, hey, they love Google, they can totally see themselves working there, let's definitely go forward with an offer, I think this person's going to accept. Client holder runs to the company, super excited. Hey, Google, oh my God, I'm so excited. So-and-so wants to join you, blah, 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 blah. Well, Google then has a conversation with that candidate, and the candidate says, yeah, I would love an offer from you. That's great. I'll think it over and I'll get back to you in 2 weeks because I have some other interviews going on. Super normal response. But I'm pretty sure Google is now going to go bark at the client holder and say, hey, so-and-so, you said that I don't know, let's say Brianna, let's say Bianca. You say Bianca wants to join Google, wants this offer. Bianca just told me that she wants to finish up her interviews and then she's not gonna get back to us for 2 weeks. That's unacceptable. So then the client holder is now gonna go bark at the candidate holder. And so it's like this yell ladder, yell chain, whatever they call that, that happens, and then nobody's happy. And then what happens after that is the client holder is now upset at the candidate holder, and that next offer that person has with them, they're gonna think back to this Google moment and they're gonna put you in a bucket. And so moving forward, they're not gonna fully trust what you have to say. And if you can't trust your colleagues, you can't operate correctly. So 2 people here are in the wrong. The candidate holder, 100%, didn't get the right info. Now, heard what they wanted to say. Again, this is a science, so you have to be careful with this. You have to ask those tough questions and not be afraid that they just say, look, Google's cool and everything, but I'd rather go to Facebook. Sorry. You're not asking those questions because human nature, the candidate is not going to go out of their way to tell you something negative. Not gonna happen. Human nature, that's not how it works. It'd be very rare that someone's upfront with you. So it's up to the candidate holder to get that information and to relay it to the client holder correctly. Now, the client holder, however, also is in the wrong with this for a couple reasons. One, maybe they weren't on the same page correctly. Sorry, that's my dog in the background. Maybe they didn't collaborate with the candidate holder enough and gave them almost too much leeway, which again, you want to trust, but you don't want to completely go in blind, right? But also because now the client holder is putting the candidate holder into this bucket and not trusting moving forward. And that is awful. Honestly, I relate this to like my mom and like when I was a teenager and she said, trust is everything. Once you ruin trust, then we have nothing. I see what she's saying and I agree. Without trust, you can't operate correctly. You operate in the blind, I think. However, you have to move on. As a recruiter, you are moving on from difficult situations all the time, and with your colleagues, it should be one of them as well. And this is where you can only have good communication and collaboration if you do that. You move on from situations, you put that in the back of your mind somewhere, lock it up, whatever. You don't have to completely forget it, but you do have to move on, because you cannot have a great working relationship if you two are not very transparent and candid, respectful, and kind. I think that that's another huge, huge, huge issue, because as a client holder in general, and depends on where you work, the one that's working directly with the company, a lot of times they're more senior. So when you have a candidate holder, a lot of times in theory, they're a little more junior. I mean, who knows? Again, it goes both ways, but the client holder in this situation holds the power. And so the candidate holder, they're gonna start operating out of fear, and they're gonna get really nervous. They're gonna second guess themselves, and they're not going to do their A game, because it's impossible to have your A game on when you operate that way, when you are fearful, when you think too much. The best way to be the next millionaire recruiter is to operate out of instinct, quickly, swiftly. You apologize, you ask for forgiveness, not permission, and you are super straightforward and honest and have context with everything you say. Again, your brain's moving quickly. You need to back up a little bit, let your colleagues know what you're thinking, why you're thinking it, and then move. And that's honestly how just teamwork in general is. I actually kind of think that teamwork can even move forward, and that can be a whole separate video. But in the recruiting world, again, if you don't have colleagues, that's fine. You are still having to collaborate with the candidates and the clients. And if there is any miscommunication in that chain, then you're gonna get yourself in a lot of trouble. You're gonna get frustrated. You're gonna beat yourself up. And then you're gonna be in your mindset that you cannot operate well and be that next millionaire recruiter. So do what you need to do. You definitely have to be mentally strong. Again, totally separate video, but communication, collaboration in recruiting is crucial. And do not make any assumptions. I would absolutely love, I know this was kind of got really serious, but I would love to hear a very positive moment as to how you collaborated and communicated, with the colleague, with the client, with the candidate. Like I said, there's all of those moving parts. I would love to hear the comments below as to where you took it to the next level, or even better, I would love to hear how you got yourself out of a bucket, or how you took someone out of a bucket. Because I think, honestly, if I'm gonna talk about life in general, I think a lot of people put others in buckets. So as a recruiter, again, we're moving, we're forgetting, we're going, we're forgetting, we're moving, we're moving, we're moving. But don't totally forget to the point that you don't learn. You always have to learn from a situation and know, all right, let me reflect. How would I do this better? How would I treat my colleague better? How would I communicate to my colleague better? To a client, to a candidate. There's lots of instances where I could have done better. And so every day you vow to do better and to collaborate well and to move faster. So good luck in your journey. I've got lots of comments about clients and about the last video I did. If you haven't checked that one out last week, about really giving yourself a break, giving yourself credit. I hope that really helped. Seems like it did by some of the comments and emails I've gotten. So thank you for that. Love the outreach, love the inspiration. So keep that coming for sure. And I will see you next week and every Thursday at noon. Don't forget that money is just a vessel that gets you to do all the amazing things you want to go do in life. So go do it. See you next week.